This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not an offer or solicitation of an offer to buy or sell securities. SNN Network, SNN Inc., and the Planet MicroCap Podcast and the representatives are not licensed brokers, broker-dealers, market makers, investment bankers, investment advisors, analysts, or underwriters. We do not recommend any companies discussed. We may buy and sell securities in any company mentioned and make profit in the event those securities rise in value. We recommend you consult with a professional investment advisor, broker, or legal counsel before purchasing or selling any securities referenced in this podcast. Welcome to the Planet MicroCap Podcast. I'm your host, Robert Kraft. Thank you all so much for the support and for tuning in. Do me a quick favor. If you like what you hear at Planet MicroCap, please take 2 seconds to give us 5 stars on Spotify or Apple. This helps with the search engine so that more folks can also discover and engage with all things microcap stocks. My guest on the show today is Paul Andreola, founder and editor of Small Cap Discoveries. I invited Paul on the show today for 2 reasons. One, I always enjoy hearing Paul's perspective on what's happening north of the border in microcaps, which we do cover. And 2, I'm excited to announce that the Planet MicroCap Showcase Vancouver, in association with Small Cap Discoveries, event registration is now open. The dates for this year are September 25 and 26, 2024 at the Fairmont Waterfront Vancouver. In 2023, we successfully launched our first Planet MicroCap Showcase Vancouver at the beginning of September, and Paul Andreola and his team hosted their invite-only Small Cap Discoveries Day a few weeks later. This year, we decided to combine our events to showcase the best North American microcaps possible. Listen in to hear how our format for Vancouver will be, and to register, please visit planetmicrocapshowcase.com. Thank you again for tuning into the Planet MicroCap Podcast, and please enjoy my conversation with Paul Andreola, and look forward to seeing you in Vancouver. Paul, look at us. Here we are again. Let's do
Look
this.
at us.
Look at it, like on that Hot Ones with Paul Rudd, the guy like, hey man, look at us.
That's right.
Who would have
That's
thought?
right.
Here we are again. But good to see you, man. How you doing?
Great to see you. I'm doing good.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we have a little bit of an agenda today because we have 2 things to discuss. One is, look, it's been since I think late August since we last chatted on the pod, and also when you did your presentation at the first Planet MicroCap Showcase Vancouver, giving kind of a state of the Canadian microcap market. But you were back on in December too for like a year-round wrap. Anyways, besides the point. One, it's good to do an update. And secondly, we got a little bit of news to announce for the 2nd annual Planet MicroCap Showcase Vancouver in association with Small Cap Discoveries. So Paul, give yourself a little pat on the back, I guess. I don't know. Okay. But very excited to announce that September 25 and 26, 2024. It's going to be at the Fairmont Waterfront Vancouver again over 2 days. We're going to have first day, September 25th, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., 40 companies presenting with one-on-ones. Then Small Cap Discoveries Day, Thursday, September 26th, from 9 a.m. to, I believe, 5 p.m., with about 20 to 25 company presentations plus one-on-ones. We're going to get into more details about how that's going to work in the second half of the pod. But first, like I said, state of the Canadian microcap markets, want to get that update. We've seen last time we did this back in late August, we were like, wow, there's been a lot of acquisitions. If anything, it's only picked up steam in the non-resource Canadian microcaps. So want to get your take. What have you been seeing? Why has that been happening? And why are still people overlooking Canadian non-resource microcaps?
Mm-hmm. Bobby, I think you're right. Last year was a great year for a specific type of Canadian microcap. Lots of acquisitions. We finally start to see some financings and some, mergers and things like that. They're all they sort of happen in better markets. So from that angle, I think, it was clearly a good market. This year, we're starting to see more. We just recently saw another company that's in our universe, a company called UGE International. Fantastic takeout, nice premium on that. So, the reason, I think it's simple. A lot of these companies are still very cheap. And, we do a lot of work in the public markets, but we also do a little bit in the private markets. And, the valuations in some cases are significantly cheaper in the public markets than they are even in the private market. So you're seeing transactions because, companies are recognizing that some of these assets that are currently trading in the Canadian markets are cheap enough to buy, and hence we're seeing these nice premiums on these deals.
In your conversations with management teams, I mean, I'm sure some of them are like, you know what, in some respects, put me out of my misery, right? Like, I mean, some of them have been, these founder CEOs, they've been public for a long time. They've been doing the microcap grind. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but they've been doing the microcap grind for a while now. So,
Yeah.
I mean, what's been some of the conversations been like with management teams that maybe come to you and say, hey, some of these, we're starting to, these types of conversations are picking up. Like, what do you think?
It's actually usually it's the other way around. We contact them. What's happening is very few people are actually contacting them, and obviously we like that. If nobody's contacting them, typically it means nobody's paying attention, and there's a good chance for mispricing and undervaluation. So what we are seeing is a real reception to anybody that's calling, because it's almost like they feel like they're orphaned, and somebody's looking to adopt them to some degree. That I don't see how that's going to rapidly change in the environment we're in right now. A lot of these companies, they just toil in obscurity until somebody like us or somebody else that's sophisticated comes along and takes a good look, and then sees that there's real disconnect between value. So those that are diligently working, maybe there's a little bit of frustration, but they're almost too busy working to really care. Those that went public because they want a currency to use, those are the ones that are more frustrated, right? If they're acquiring companies, or that's part of their business plan, or if they need to raise money, that's the real challenge. And it's a challenge, but it's an opportunity, right? So if these companies are that mispriced, it does give an opportunity for sophisticated investors to come in and take advantage of that. And once they do, it's amazing how fast we're seeing value get recognized. We've seen a number of companies over the past year, go up 4, 5, 10x in value, starting from a standing start, and then all of a sudden now all sorts of institutions want to participate now that the valuation has gone up by 3, 4x.
Oh, for sure. I mean, two examples right off the top of my head that I think you've talked about or done interviews with these companies before, but also I think Matthew Martin highlighted in one of his blogs recently was last 2 weeks, some of these companies come out with good earnings and it actually has been getting recognized. I mean, I don't know if that's just a holistic, like, hey, we want to look at Canadian markets and we'll wait for, oh, there we go. That performer, there we go. Just had a great quarter, like Covalon and Kits, right?
Yeah. Two great examples. I would say that, a year and a half ago, if you came out with good results, it was an opportunity for longtime shareholders to sell into any kind of volume. This time around, what we're starting to see is that kind of good volume, or that good financial result, is now being looked at by more sophisticated investors. In a lot of cases, institutional guys who would not look at anything under 100 million market cap 2 years ago, are now easily looking at something that's $50 million market cap, but they want to see the performance. So, Kits is a great example. Now it's well above $100 million market cap, but it was one that surprisingly, even though it was call it a larger microcap in Canada, it was still fairly underfollowed by the market. And a little bit of good news all of a sudden gave it significantly more momentum. That momentum, brought more of an audience. And all of a sudden you see there's a stock that is, I think it's tripled this year in the last 12 months. So that's what we're seeing, is this momentum that actually continues to carry, and then it gets to a size where institutional guys can actually really do something with it, and off it goes even higher.
100%. For full disclosure, I'm not a shareholder in Covalon or Kits. Paul,
I'm not a shareholder of Covalon. I'm a shareholder of Kits, small shareholder of Kits. Yeah.
Very good. What's interesting, and when I see the genesis of, like, you and Trevor have been doing small events now for a few years. Small Cap Discovery's been doing smaller events since, since I've known you, like 2015, 2014. And it's always indicative because you guys have very strict criteria for the companies that you want to have on your day. And this is not, I'm not trying to be like all, promoting of our event or anything like that. But, what's interesting is you're seeing the number of those companies climb year after year. And to me, that's always been an indicator of, like, wow, there's more and more companies that, in their opinion, are providing some sort of value there. that are being completely overlooked. And you guys wouldn't just have more companies just to fill out a roster. Like, you're very specific about how many companies you would have in any given roster. So it's interesting to see how that's been growing over the year. And already the ones that we have signed up for this year, it's just incredible.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I think I mean, for us, it's always been quality over quantity. We try to get some of the best sort of misunderstood or the best quality opportunities within our sphere of companies. So, we don't do anything the resource side. It's just that's part of our criteria. But the stuff that we do find, it seems not that they're more obvious, not necessarily even that there's more of them, but I think they're starting to recognize that this is sort of the proper way to get exposure without having to go and hire traditional investor relations, or in some cases, they don't even look at those sort of things at all. But they recognize that for their shareholder base, they have a responsibility to go and properly communicate. And conferences like these now are the go-to thing to do, right? Now, if it's a company that fits our tighter criteria, then we welcome them there. If they don't have that criteria, but they're still good quality companies, they need to get out there and properly communicate. And that's why we recognize that sort of what we're trying to do right now is a great platform for these companies that don't want to do traditional IR and need to get that message out.
100%. And we'll get into the finer details of how
Sure.
In a little bit. I that was my fault. I noticed that trend, actually. I mean, that's been kind of interesting to me. I mean, anything else that we're missing, in the last 6-7 months? I mean, I've seen volumes picked up a little bit in Canadian markets. Anything else that you're seeing from either a structural standpoint, from an opportunity standpoint, in certain sectors that are now kind of standing out to you, where there's been more opportunities within that? Anything else we missed?
You know what? I would have said, about 2 years ago, we were absolutely pounding the table because there were so many things that were going ignored and the valuations were so cheap. It seemed like we were the only ones in the candy store. It's a little bit different now. You got to do a little bit more work to find the companies that are truly undervalued. And usually they're not as obvious. So while a lot of the microcaps we like are still, I'd say, fairly priced at best or cheap, they're nowhere near as dirt cheap as they were before. So you have to do a little bit more work. And there are sectors that I think are sort of better opportunities because they've been decimated. And the one that comes right to mind right now is the cannabis sector. We are finding great opportunities in the cannabis sector based purely on fundamental performance. So where, 2, 3, 4, or 5 years ago, it was a lot more hype and expectations. That's all exhausted from the market. And now, and quite frankly, a lot of the bigger well-known companies have been, they've decimated capital. There's a lot of smaller companies that have been, again, toiling in obscurity, that have been able to put together some real businesses and, generate real performance, real cash, real profit. And some of them have performed really well. We had one cannabis stock that is 10x in the last year and a half. And barely anybody knew it when we first found it. Those are the opportunities we're looking for. You want healthy financials in a despised industry, and a company that is kind of ignored or thrown out because it's in the wrong industry, even though it's doing really well. There's lots of those opportunities out there.
Come on, some would argue, say, Paul, give mining a chance again, then.
You know what? I mean, it's the contrarian in me loves the mining space because I think it is still very despised, right? But I've got the scars from the mining industry to know that I don't know my stuff when it comes to mining. So I try to stick with the stuff I know. Yeah.
So I had to jab you on that because people listening and be like, all right, you want to go contrarian? All right, there's the you're opening yourself up to cannabis. Look, he's experimenting. You're inhaling. So
I'm inhaling cannabis stocks. That's right. Yeah.
Good stuff. All right. Well, jump to our conference that we're doing now. Again, happening September 25 and 26. Just want to be very clear about our format, how we're doing. Like I said, we're breaking it down where 25th, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. That on that Wednesday, 40 companies, one-on-ones. That is open to everyone, both Small Cap Discoveries members, as well as anybody who's listening in to this podcast who's a non-SCD member. Service providers do have to pay a fee to participate. It is $12.95 US. That's $1,295 to buy a ticket, or you can sponsor. And then for Thursday, September 26th, that we're calling it the Small Cap Discoveries Day. And that is specifically for Small Cap Discoveries members. So, Paul, do you want to take it from there a little bit to go into the details?
Yeah, Bobby, we both had conferences last year, and the only thing wrong with both of them was they were 2 weeks apart. So this time what we've done is we've crashed them together. And yeah, the ability to go and see upwards of 60 companies on both days. As Bobby explained, SCD, what we do is we vet the companies that come, and we actually invite certain companies that we want to see make sure our audience gets a chance to see. And of course, the companies that we also love but don't fit our criteria, those will be companies that will be presenting on the first day. So those, we recommend everybody come to see as many of the companies as possible. And if you want to come and see the companies that we've vetted on day two, then become a member. And what we'll do is we'll heavily discount it. We'll offer a half price membership for those that come to the conference that want to try out our service and get to see the companies that we present. It was a big hit last year. I know, Bobby, I had a good fortune of being able to present at your conference last year, and know a lot of people really enjoyed it. So we think putting it together is going to be 1 + 1 = 3, and hope to see as many people there as possible. And like I said, hopefully people come and try out our service and enjoy both days.
For sure. So, Paul, one more to help putting more of the marketing hat on here. What else is included as part of being a member? Not just getting access to events like this, but what else is included?
So, what we do is we screen through every single Canadian listed company in Canada. So what we're constantly trying to do is find microcaps that fit our criteria of growth and profitability. And historically, those kind of companies have done real well, and we certainly have a pretty solid track record in finding those companies. So what we do is we try to provide a sort of a hand-holding service to go through the due diligence of these type of companies with all our members. So we try to find companies that fit that criteria, and then we showcase them to our members and allow people to join in on our conversations with management. We do interviews with management. We do crowdsource due diligence. There's a whole host of things that we do. We have a forum that allows everybody to sort of chime in with their comments and questions. And then, we sort of sum everything up with our conference every year. We invite the best companies in that we can, and everybody has an opportunity to not only meet the companies and get a one-on-one with these company and management teams, but also the investors that sort of are in our ecosystem as well. We've got great speakers, many of the speakers that we bring to our conferences. So it's really, it's almost like a mentoring service that allows everybody within our membership to get the most out of sort of the Canadian microcap market and the people in that ecosystem.
Excellent. Yeah, no, I went last year. I mean, I've been going to for years, and I always love just networking with so many high quality investors, great companies. And I'm pumped that we're able to do it like this year, because I think, one of the things that we talked about even last year and before the first time we came up there was that there's just nothing really like this for the Canadian microcap non-resource market. We want it to be as niche as possible, of course, but there really isn't. And the fact that we're able to do this together, I think provides not just a showcase for, I think individually the 40, 50-ish. Now we have 60 companies that in the non-resource microcap space that, you'll have a chance to see. I'm being very specific, saying non-resource. So anybody listening to this that might be a junior mining management team that wants to present, I'm sorry. Like, we have other opportunities, but this one is really for the non-resource companies that we know are institutions and investors that follow us on a daily basis want to come and see. So, I apologize, but also,
Yeah, no, I mean, I think there's a lot of services that cater to the mining and resource space here in Canada, and quite frankly, a lack of services for those that are non-resource. And I think that's that. I mean, I know that's what you're trying to do, Bobby. That's what we're trying to do, is really give them a platform to go out and showcase what they can do. And some of the best performing companies in Canada have been these small microcap non-resource companies that have been the XPELs of the world, or the Boyd auto groups and things like that have turned into 100, 200 baggers. So, we're clearly looking for the next ones that sort of fit the bill, right?
For sure. All right. Well, for everybody that wants to register to attend, so you'll be able to do so on planetmicrocapshowcase.com. There you will be able to register. If you are an SCD member, you will be able to indicate that you are an SCD member, so you get access to both days. If you try and register for the whole thing and you're not an SCD member, you will be asked to register or pay for a membership, which Paul and his team graciously offer for a 50% discount for, what is it? Is it a year membership? Something like that?
Yeah, so we charge on a quarterly basis. So what we'll do is we'll offer a quarterly membership for half price. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So that's the drill. PlanetMicroCapShowcase.com. It's in Vancouver. Fairmont Waterfront Vancouver is going to be the hotel that we're going to be doing the event at. And let me think, what else am I missing? September 25 and 26, 2024. And I don't know, Paul, any closing thoughts here? I think we'll keep it short and sweet today. I'm sure we'll have more updates as we get closer.
Oh yeah,
go through some of the companies that are presenting and stuff like that. But
exactly, and some of the keynote speakers and things like that we'll be able to bring. Last year was a big hit, so we know we've got a tough thing to repeat, but we're going to do our best to bring some of the best people out there.
Yeah, Ian killed it last year, man.
He killed it. Well,
he killed it. He set the bar real high on that one.
Well, I still think
as he always would, he
never disappoints. So that's the thing. It's a tough one to.
But listen, at ours, yours was great. I love Ryan Irvin's was great. Brent Todd's was great.
Yeah.
My goodness. Harold Leishman's was great. We had a couple of the exchanges do some keynotes. Those we really try and do our best. And if you're still even listening at this point, because we're sounding so, markety here, but we really do our best to, oh my goodness, Dave Barr.
I was going to say Dave Barr. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm losing my brain here a little bit, but no. So if you do register to attend, just expect we're going to put together a hell of a program for you. No doubt about it. You're going to get a lot of value. Again, go to planetmicrocapshowcase.com to register. Book all your accommodations, flights, all that good stuff. And Paul and I will be back again probably in a couple months with a little bit of a preview of some of the companies that are going to be presenting, as well as the keynotes and what you can expect there. So with that, Paul, thank you again. We're very excited. Smallcapdiscoveries.com is his website. And we'll see y'all soon.
See you soon, Bobby.